They're beautiful. They're smart. They have everything except peace of mind. And the strangest part? The very thing that makes them powerful is the same thing destroying them. Today we're diving into a paradox you've seen, but never fully understood. Why do so many attractive women, despite their intelligence and opportunities, make catastrophic choices in love, relationships, and even basic human interaction? The answer isn't in them. It's in the system surrounding them. A system built on lies. 1. The extinction of truth. Think about the moment a girl first realizes that men treat her differently. Maybe it's when she's 14, maybe 16. Suddenly the cashier lingers on her smile. Older boys open doors, strangers stare too long. At first, it feels like magic. But underneath that magic, something dangerous begins. Truth starts dying around her. Not because men hate truth, but because telling it has consequences. In the economy of attraction, honesty is expensive, brutally expensive. One critical comment can kill attraction, close doors, erase opportunities. A lie, a compliment, or strategic silence. That's cheap. That's rewarded. And when rewards stack up on one side and punishments stack up on the other, human nature chooses the path of least resistance. Men begin editing themselves. They avoid saying, "That dress doesn't suit you," or "That guy is playing you." Instead, they say, "You look amazing, and he's probably just busy." Over time, she stops hearing reality. She lives inside a bubble of curated feedback, a bubble that feels safe, but is actually fragile glass. This bubble filters out pain, but it also filters out growth. And here's the cruel twist. Because she doesn't get reality checks, her cause and effect wiring changes. She can make bad decisions without immediate visible consequences. The feedback loop, the thing every human relies on to learn, is broken. By adulthood, she's fluent in validation but illiterate in truth. And in relationships, that's like being fluent in sugar but starving for protein. It tastes good, but it doesn't build anything that lasts. 2. The honesty-sex contradiction. This is the paradox that drives the entire machine. For beautiful women, the most valuable thing they could ever receive from men is honest feedback. The kind that says, "You're making a mistake," or "That guy's bad for you," or even, "That wasn't okay." But in reality, this is exactly the thing they're least likely to get. Why? Because honesty is socially and sexually expensive. If a man tells a hard truth, he risks rejection, loss of access, or social backlash. In the dating marketplace, that's suicidal. On the flip side, lies are more often. Strategic half-truths cost almost nothing and deliver instant rewards. You flatter her, she smiles. You stay silent when she's wrong, she still invites you out. Every man quickly learns the rule. Truth risks everything, lies risk nothing. Over years, this shapes a predictable pattern. Her world fills with people who edit reality in her favor. Not because they're evil, but because the incentives make it the rational choice. And when you live in an environment where truth is punished and falsehood is rewarded, your map of reality warps. This is why so many beautiful women are blindsided when a relationship collapses or a friend betrays them. They've been navigating life with a GPS that always says, "You're on the right road," even when they're driving toward a cliff. The tragedy is that men's silence feels like kindness in the short term, but it's cruelty in the long term. Because the truth they withhold is the very thing she needed to avoid disaster. 3. Power without wisdom. Power is intoxicating, but when it arrives too early, it's also blinding. Most forms of power, political, financial, intellectual, come slowly. You learn the rules, face consequences, and grow wise before the stakes get too high. Beauty is different. Beauty drops into a girl's lap overnight, often in her early teens, when she has zero life experience. Suddenly, she can make grown men change their behavior with a glance. She can walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. This is influence most people never touch in a lifetime. But there's a problem. No one teaches her how to handle it. There's no manual, no training wheels. And because everyone's focused on keeping her happy, not keeping her grounded, she doesn't face the normal friction that shapes maturity. No one says no enough. No one challenges her in ways that sting but teach. Over time, she learns to equate having influence with having understanding. But those are not the same. Influence without wisdom is like a sports car without brakes, thrilling in the moment, catastrophic in the long run. This mismatch between power and maturity creates what the video calls a power-wisdom disaster. The world treats her like an expert in relationships, human behavior, and self-worth, but in reality, her feedback loop is broken, so her confidence rests on shaky foundations. When she eventually faces a situation that beauty can't solve, a betrayal, a failing marriage, an aging face, she has no tested strategies to fall back on. The same early power that gave her advantages has also robbed her of the slow, necessary grind that builds resilience. 4. The role of family men. In a landscape of strategic flattery and soft lies, there is one group of men who can break through: male family members. Fathers, brothers, uncles, men who have no sexual interest and no incentive to sugarcoat. These men can afford to tell her what others can't. They can say, "You're wrong," or "You need to rethink this," without worrying about losing access or attraction points. Their loyalty isn't transactional, it's blood deep. The best of these men become truth guardians. They enforce boundaries, call out unhealthy partners, and refuse to enable destructive habits. They are willing to be the bad guy in the moment to protect her in the long run. But even this lifeline is fragile. If she grows addicted to validation, if she begins to see all criticism as an attack, she might push these truth tellers away. And once they're gone, the last honest voices vanish. Without them, she's left entirely in the echo chamber of those who either want something from her or fear upsetting her. At that point, reality is no longer a shared space, it becomes whatever she wants it to be, until the walls collapse. This is why the role of family men is so critical. They are the only ones with the leverage and unconditional love to withstand the emotional storms truth can trigger. They can take the slammed doors, the silent treatments, the "you don't understand me" speeches, and still show up the next day. If they disappear, the game is over. And the system that beauty built, the system of flattery over truth, is left completely unchecked. 5. Intermittent reinforcement and conditioning. Psychology has a cruel trick. The most addictive rewards are the ones you get unpredictably. Not every time, not never, but sometimes. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the same principle that makes slot machines so addictive. Beautiful women live in a world of constant, unpredictable rewards. A stranger might buy her coffee one day, a friend might praise her outfit, a man might shower her with attention after ignoring her for weeks. This randomness wires the brain to chase validation harder, because you never know when the next hit is coming. Over years, this becomes a form of conditioning. She learns, often unconsciously, that her appearance is her most reliable currency. And she learns that pushing back against flattering lies or demanding truth risks cutting off that supply. So truth becomes the enemy. This conditioning is powerful because it doesn't just shape how others treat her, it shapes how she treats herself. She starts filtering her own reality, avoiding any thought or fact that might threaten the validation loop. And when a hard truth does slip through a failed relationship, a friend's betrayal, the shock is overwhelming. Her mental model has no category for "this could happen to me." So every disappointment feels like an existential crisis. This is why breaking the cycle is so difficult. It's not just about changing habits, it's about rewiring a brain that has been trained for over a decade to reward lies and punish truth. 6. The average woman advantage. Here's the irony. Average-looking women often have more accurate understandings of men and relationships than their beautiful peers. Not because they're smarter, but because they get more truth. When men have less sexual incentive, they have less reason to filter their feedback. That means average women hear, "That guy's a player," or "You're being unfair." More often, they feel the sting of honest criticism early and they adapt. They also experience more natural consequences for bad behavior. If they ghost a good man, he may never come back. If they make poor choices, fewer people rush to rescue them. These real-world penalties shape stronger judgment and relational intelligence. By contrast, beautiful women can float through years without facing full consequences. Men replace themselves before she feels the loss. Friends cushion her mistakes, and strangers excuse her behavior. Without the corrective friction of reality, her decision-making muscles atrophy. Over time, the average woman becomes sharper, more grounded, and often more successful in long-term relationships, not despite her looks, but partly because she didn't have the distortion beauty can create. 7. Breaking the cycle. Breaking the cycle begins with a radical, deliberate commitment to truth that doesn't bow to ego or comfort. For the woman who has been told all her life that her beauty is her greatest asset, this means actively seeking perspectives that challenge her, not flatter her. It's the conscious choice to ask, "What am I blind to? Where am I wrong?" And then to sit with the sting of the answers without silencing the voice that speaks them. It's a shift from curating an echo chamber to cultivating a mirror, however unflattering the reflection might be. For men, responsibility lies in resisting the easy path of appeasement, refusing to trade honesty for approval, even when silence could mean continued access or favor. It's valuing the long arc of a person's growth over the fleeting rewards of staying in her good graces. On a cultural scale, this demands a reframing of beauty itself. We celebrate it endlessly in headlines, filters, and compliments, yet rarely equip those who possess it with the tools to navigate its distortions: emotional regulation, accountability, and the ability to make decisions grounded in reality rather than fantasy. Beauty itself is not the villain in this story. Unmanaged beauty is. Untethered from wisdom, it can quietly corrode relationships, warp self-perception, and lead to choices that sabotage the very life it could have elevated. Left unchecked, it becomes a slow-motion tragedy, elegant on the surface, hollow underneath. The only antidote is a steady diet of truth, patient, unflinching, and immune to the seduction of half-truths. This isn't a single conversation or a sudden epiphany. It's a lifelong discipline, a conscious rewriting of the script both individuals and society have been performing for generations. Only then can beauty and wisdom coexist without devouring each other. This isn't about blaming beautiful women, it's about seeing the invisible game board they've been placed on since birth, a system where charm and appearance open doors but quietly extract a toll. The rules were written long before they arrived, and they reward flattery over honesty, compliance over challenge. The question isn't, why does she play? But rather, how do we change the game? That change starts at the personal level. If you're a man, give truth even when it risks your place in her favor. Speak with integrity, not calculation, knowing that real care sometimes wounds in the moment but heals in the long run. If you're a woman, seek truth even when it feels like an attack, because every uncomfortable insight is a piece of armor against the distortions beauty can bring. Without truth, beauty drifts untethered, first intoxicating, then isolating, and finally, quietly destructive. But when beauty is paired with courage and clarity, it stops being a curse and becomes something far rarer, a gift that lasts.